Mucha más presencia de personas aquí en esta.
Shame, 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 shame. Eyes out of Minnesota. Eyes out of Minnesota. Eyes out of Minnesota. You take it off. Good job.
All right, Shalom, Shalom. I'm Rayala coming at you with another lesson straight out of the Lion's Den camp of Yashala. But before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son in their proper two names. And we're going to start off by saying, Kal, Halayim La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Rakah, Kodash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder, Harwan, Banyasha Allah of the Lion's Den camp located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere men, women, and children that believe in sincerity and truth and that believe on the names of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. All right. Today's lesson is going to be going over the incident that happened to the lady, all right, Miss Renee Good, on Wednesday. All right, she was unalived by ICE. All right, and it's an article about it. It says, woman fatally shot by ICE officer in Minneapolis, identified by family city councils. All right, as we were just saying in the video, man, the protesters, are shaming ICE for what they did, man. At the end of the day, this is something. This is a very sad situation. All right, I was trying to see the nationality of the woman that was unalived, but I'm just assuming that she was either Negro, Latino, or Native American, more so on the Latino side, or made look more Latino than anything, because ICE was messing with her, for one. Dealing with ICE, man, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, they will mess with you, man. Even, let's say you at a Mexican party. This was the guy on the radio speaking about this. I'm not sure what his nationality was, but he was at a Mexican party and they got raided by ICE. Shit, they hog-tied him backwards, right? Basically, zip tied his hands behind his back and zip tied his hands to the back of his ankles, and carried him like that down the stairs, man. All right, until they identified him and then released him, right? So not only they're gonna humiliate you, you're gonna be very uncomfortable. They're gonna put you in some very uncomfortable situations. But when dealing with ICE, man, especially if you're a citizen, just comply, man. Just comply, so you can end up suing them later, right, after the event. Right, make sure you have some witnesses and some type of video evidence. But at the end of the day, all right, it's better to comply, right, than to be unalived, man. This is a very sad situation. Let's get into the article, man, and explain a little bit about the lady. All right, it says the 37-year-old woman, right, she was on 37, bro. 37, she's younger than me. 37-year-old woman who was fatally shot by an ICE officer in Minneapolis on Wednesday has been identified by local leaders and her family. Right, the Minneapolis City Council and the woman's family identify her as Renee Nicole Good, right, which she sounds like a Jake. That's out. It says a mother, right? She was a mother at that, man, right, who was out caring for her neighbor, right? Had nothing to do with none of this, man. She just out caring for her neighbors. It was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when I guess by the time she realized, hey, it's time for me to get up out of here. And when she tried to make her escape, I ain't gonna say make her escape, but make her way, going about her business, she was fatally shot, man. I've seen the video myself. People say it's unclear. It's very clear that man had plenty of opportunity, right, to move out the way, for one. For two, when he did move out the way, he didn't have to dive out the way. He didn't have to run out the way. He literally just stepped to the side and pulled his weapon and shot. All right. His life wasn't in immediate danger, right? Second thing is he could have shot the tires. Right? The road was icy, right? There was snow everywhere, right? She ended up crashing anyways. You could have shot the tires, man. The woman would have still been alive, right? And you would have been able to detain her, right? But the mindset of E is to unalive first instead of to take tactics and be smart and say, hey, man, if I shoot these tires, she ain't going to make it far. You know, I don't have to unalive you, but that's the weakness of Esau, the mindset of Esau, man. You know, they rather just take your life. You know, but it says the Associated Press previously reported that the woman was shot during a traffic stop south of downtown Minneapolis, where federal agents had recently launched an operation. Right, videos from bystanders. Right, it says videos from and this one here it seems like another article. It says Minneapolis mayor, ICE officers killing and motorists was reckless, not self-defense. Right. I'm assuming this is still talking about the same situation, just another article. Right. Yep. Still talking about the 37-year-old woman. But like I said, man, right. ICE officer shot kills a woman during a Minneapolis immigration raid, man. But God dang it. But this wasn't in self-defense, in my opinion, man. You know. I could see if the man got hit by the car, if he dove out the way, or, you know, she punched the gas on him, you know, or if the lady was coming down the street at 100 miles per hour. That I can get, man. You know, that man literally stepped to his right. He took one step and was clear from her vehicle. Come on, man. It says, right, videos from bystanders showed an officer approaching an SUV stopped across the middle of the road, demanding the driver open the door and grabbing the handle. The Honda pilot begins to pull forward, and a different ICE officer standing in front of the vehicle pulls his weapon and immediately fires at least 2 shots into the vehicle at close range, jumping back as the vehicle moves forward. Jumping back my ass. Like, watch the video. That man could just step. He just took a step. It was, and when you watch him, he wasn't panicking, wasn't in fear. The man just stepped to the side and unleashed on him, man. You know, you didn't see no fear in this man at that time. He wasn't scared for his life, man. You know, right, it says pull forward, and a different ICE officer standing in front of the vehicle pulls his weapon and immediately fires at least 2 shots into the vehicle at close range, jumping back as the vehicle moves towards him. Right. So first part of the paragraph says the Honda pilot, which is the driver, began to pull forward, and a different ICE officer standing in front of the vehicle pulls his weapon and immediately fires at least 2 shots into the vehicle at close range. Then it says jumping back as the vehicle moves towards him. And he didn't jump back. He literally just stepped to the side, man. You go back and watch the video. It was not clear from the videos if the vehicle made contact with the officer. The SUV then sped into 2 cars, right, because she was already shot at that point, which her body probably went limp. You know, the SUV then sped into 2 cars parked on a curb nearby before crashing to a stop. Witness scream obscenities, a pressing shock at what they seen. Right, it says after the shooting, emergency medical technicians tried to administer aid to the woman. All right, look at all that snow. Man, clearly you could have shot the tires, bro. I mean, anyway, it says a Minneapolis police officer stands guard while emergency. Right, look at him. Shit crazy, man. Right. Emergency medical technician administered aid to a person who was shot by an immigration and customs enforcement officer in Minneapolis on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. Right. It says, meanwhile, blood could be seen in the car, which had stuffed animals in the passenger seat area, man. You know, thankfully, the child wasn't in the vehicle as far as I know. But it just shows you that, man, you know, you killed a mother. You know, you unalived the mother, man. You know, that was who probably had all rights to be on that road at that time. You know, and you wasn't even there for her. You could have easily disabled the vehicle without disabling her life, man. or taking her life, should I say. All right, it says, quote, she was driving away, and they killed her, end quote. Resident Lynette Renee Grindle, who was outdoors recording video on her phone, told the Associated Press, right, quote, she was probably terrified, right, and it's crazy how people speak on this, but you ain't never been, and I'm talking about, excuse me, people in high authorities, high rankings, right, people like Trump, you ain't never been in no situation like this for real, to where you basically, you not doing anything, and next thing you know, they trying to, take your life, man. You know, that thing that happened to Trump with his earlobe, I ain't finna get into all that, but something ain't right with that situation, But again, Trump ain't really never been in no situation like this where he's just an innocent bystander, minding his business, and people trying to take your freedom from you, and or your life, right? It says, quote, she probably was terrified. Donna Granger, all right, Good's mother, told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, right? She went on to describe her daughter as, quote, one of the kindest people I've ever known, end quote, who was, quote, not part of anything like protest challenging ICE agents at all, right? She wasn't even challenging them. She was just trying to get away from them, man, right? Again, she should have complied, in my personal thought, especially when you're covered by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, just comply, at the end of the day, in those type of situations, man, it's, hey, I know I'm a citizen. I ain't did nothing wrong. You want my ID, whatever, you need me to step out the car. All this shit is illegal that y'all doing, because I'm a citizen. And, and then you can take matters into your own hand afterwards, man. Call your lawyer, file a lawsuit, do things the proper way. That way you can go home to your children, at the end of the day, man. In those type of situations, there's all different types of situations, but in that situation, I would have complied, not just, hurt for the family, for one, it don't seem like nobody taught her that, for two, she, her, the covering wasn't there, man, at the end of the day, so, no telling what she believed in or what name she called on, man. But it's very important to call on the proper names, man, to receive that proper covering, right? It's very important to where your mindset should be at, your beliefs and your works, all right? All right, back to the article. It says, Good and her husband, right, she was married, right, who passed away in 2023. So not only this child is motherless, this child was already fatherless, right? So now this child, you have left this child, without any parents, man. Have to be raised up knowing that her mother, her or his mother, because I don't think they said what nationality the child is, but anyways, now this child has to grow up knowing that their mother was unalived by the federal government, man. And that hatred is going to be in that child's la'ah forever. It says the vehicle she was driving was registered to an address in Kansas City, Missouri. Next Stars WDAF confirmed. It's not clear if Good owned the vehicle. Right, what does that matter? But anyway, it says Renee was a resident of our city who was out caring for her neighbor this morning, and her life was taken today at the hand of the federal government, end quote. The city council said in a statement, quote, anyone who kills someone in our city deserves to be arrested, investigated, and persecuted to the fullest extent of the law, end quote. The statement went, but that's not going to happen, right? But it says the statement went on to echo remarks from Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, Salaki. It says, calling for ICE to leave the city immediately. And I actually heard him speak on it, man. The mayor was snapping. It says, quote, they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense, end quote. Frey said earlier in the day about the response from federal authorities having quote, having seen the video myself, I want to tell everybody directly that is bullshit, end quote, right? And that's really what he said, man. And that's how I feel too, it's bullshit, man. The officer didn't have no reason to pull that gun. Well, even if he pulled the gun, he had no reason to shoot her, right? He could have easily disabled the vehicle, easily, right? For two, his life wasn't in immediate threat for him to shoot her. Like you know, I almost said in the face, but it's what it seemed like he did when you watch the video, man. Like it was no need for that, you know. There's plenty of ways you could have, you know, disabled the vehicle. You could have, you know. I mean, how many times have you seen people? Man, I ain't even finna get into all that, man. But anyways, it's a sad situation, man, and you know, and you have people like Trump trying to basically back what this officer did, man. You know, and this is what President Trump has to say. It says President Trump called the clip of the shooting, quote, a horrible thing to watch, end quote. You gonna say it's a horrible thing to watch, then come right back out of your mouth and say this. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer. Boy, if Trump ain't boy, this man here, you know damn well that ain't what happened. Trump, you watched the video. You clearly said the video was troubling to watch. She didn't run the ICE officer over, for one. And she was resisting, but she wasn't, it wasn't in violence, right? It wasn't, and she viciously didn't run over anybody, right? She wasn't, you can listen to her hit the gas, right? She didn't punch the gas until after she was already shot. You can hear her hit the gas, like trying to like do the U-turn to get up out of there. But you didn't hear her hit the gas to the floor. You don't hear that engine rev up that high until after she was already shot, which indicates that she was, I ain't gonna say already unalived immediately, which makes me think that she was shot in the head, right? Because usually when that happens, your body goes limp, right? And more than likely her foot, which was already on gas, just pressed all the way down the gas, and that's how she ended up crashing from there. Right, when you could have easily just shot the tires, bro. You could have easily shot the tires or blocked her off in another vehicle. Simple. All right, it says, that damn Trump, boy. It says, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. He didn't shoot her in self-defense, man. I could see if this guy had to dive out of the way, like he almost got hit. Or I could see if he did get hit, right? This man literally stepped to his right. At the same time, he was pulling out the gun when he stepped to his right and immediately fired. If you have to step out of the way of something, you wasn't in immediate danger. Now, anybody that's in immediate danger, your reaction is going to be a lot different from that. Your reaction is going to be jumping, diving, running, screaming. You know, you would have pulled that gun out and fired way more than one or two shots. All right, but it says, right, and Trump wrote in a Truth Social post. That's what Trump posted in the Truth Social post, man. Let's get some precepts. Let's go to Galatians. Let's go Galatians 6 and 7 real quick. I got a few precepts, man. They're not in order, though. All right, this is Galatians 6 and 7. It reads, be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. All right. Let's go to Isaiah 59 real quick. All right. So wherever you sow, that's what you also reap, man. Those who live by the gun shall die by the gun, man. You know, those who live by the sword shall die by the sword. All right. Let's go to Isaiah 59. The reason why I was grabbing that, man, because at the end of the day, you don't think Yahweh Shem Yahshua see what you're doing to his people, right? I don't know this lady's nationality, right? Because the people of the Lord, And the people that belong to the Lord, right, are the Negro, Latinos, Native Americans. These are the true Israelites of the scriptures, man. Right, and this is why ICE is doing all this to the our Latino brothers and sisters, man. Right, this is Isaiah 59. Let's jump down, man. You know, because for the things you do, you're gonna be unalived by those same actions that you unalive our people with, man. You know. But the Lord's sword or the Lord's gun is a lot worse than what y'all can do, man, or what y'all have created. It's Isaiah 59 and 7, and reads, their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction are in their paths, man. All right, this is the mindset of the wicked, man. All right, and this ultimately was going into our people being wicked, but we learned that wickedness from the wicked, right? Which are the wicked spirits that roam this earth, that dwell in the hearts of which is Esau, the Edomites, all right, which also dwell in the hearts of the rest of the heathens, man. All right, but being that head charge heathen of the wicked, right? And this is where our people learn. They learn that wickedness from, man. You know, 2/3 of our people, right? And then the innocent get caught up in that wickedness, man, of the heathens and the wickedness of their own people. But the point is, man, right, their feet run to evil, right? He immediately ran to the evilness, and that was in his heart, right? And they make haste to shed innocent blood, right? He could have clearly did anything but shoot that lady. He could have disabled the vehicle, man. I mean, shit, hell. Why y'all don't have vehicles, them EMP things that they was using to disable vehicles? I forgot what they called them things. They kind of showed it in one of the Fast and Furious movies. I believe that was Fast and Furious Tokyo, if I'm not, Tokyo Drift. But they actually have this EMP disabling vehicle type, I don't know what you want to call it, equipment, right? They have ways they can disable vehicles without unaliving people, man. First off. Second off, the lady it wasn't like she was coming down the street 100 miles per hour, man. You know, the man didn't have to run and dive out the way. It's crazy, man. The first thing he thought of, let me just go off this lady, right? It says, their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity, wasting and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not. Right? This is why he shot the lady, because he don't know no other way. And there is no judgment in their goings, right? So what y'all out here doing all this for? This is nothing righteous about this, man. You're unrighteously judging the people, right? And judgment goes into action as well, right? How Israelites used to get stoned. That's a judgment, you know. But anyways, it says, they have made them crooked paths. Whoever goeth therein shall not know peace, man. All right, let's go to, I don't know what this one says. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Let's go to 8 and 11. Right. That's Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Let's see. Right, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil, man. Right? Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days he prolong, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which fear before him. Right? But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? So a lot of people think that, just because, this man get to go home, right? Because I believe that's what happened. He's on leave right now with pay, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, so like if I am, but I believe he's on leave with pay and while this investigation is going on, right? And they think because, judgment is not, doesn't happen immediately. Like, why is this man able to go home and be paid, still getting paid to sit at home after he just unalived this innocent woman, right? People think that he's going to get away with it. It's like, nah, the Lord say, you know, their life is like a shadow, man. You know, at the end of the day, they just because, right now he's sitting at home chilling, his days are prolonged, don't mean he's going to get away with, right? Right, it says, though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear Yahweh, which fear before him. All right, so for us, it's going to be well for us, but it's not going to be well for him. But it shall not be well with the wicked. Right, that's verse 13. Right, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow. Right, it means nothing, man. That shit's going to blow. And when that light cuts on, that shadow disappears, man. And that's what it's going into, right? With us, we are children of the light. We're not children of the day, right? So our life is like the light. It's not like the shadow that's hiding. That's in the darkness, That only shows up when light is around, right? 'Cause when that light gets brighter, right, them shadows disappears, man. Because there's no more darkness around, man. There's nothing in the midst of that light that's blocking that light to create that shadow, right? In other words, that man will be moved out of the way, you know. Ultimately, all of them after their 1,000 years of slavery. But before all of that, they got a hell to pay, man, and fire and brimstone, Oh, damn, which is probably going to leave their shadow imprinted into the damn concrete. Damn, like they did in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right, so let's go to let's go to Psalm 94, man. But their life is like a shadow, man. When Yahweh Shai show up, that shadow is gonna be it's gonna disappear or be imprinted into Babylon, man. Ooh, damn. Cause that's what happened with the big at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, man. The people who burnt up in that nuclear destruction, their shadows was imprinted onto the concrete, man. All right. This Psalms 94. Oh yeah, Psalm 94. All right. Let's start at 1. Oh Yahweh, thy power, to whom vengeance belongeth. See, the vengeance belong to him. O God, to whom vengeance belongeth, show thyself, lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth. Render a reward to the proud. Right? Yahweh, how long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak hard things? Right? Mr. Trump, like, oh, it's a hard video to watch, but she was being violent and not orderly. She was, basically just talking trash about the lady, justifying the reason why the man shot the lady, basically. Right? It says, how long shall they utter and speak hard things, and all the workers of iniquity boast themselves? They break in pieces thy people, O Yahweh, and afflict thine heritage. They slay the widow and the sea. They slay the widow. And that lady was a widow. Her husband passed in 23, man. All right? They slay the widow and the stranger and murder the fatherless, man. Yet they say, Yahweh shall not see, neither shall the God of Jacob regard it, man. And that's what they fail to realize, right? Yahweh sees everything, man. And we gonna get into it. He sees it all, he knows it all, right? It's back at Psalms 94 and 8. Understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools, when will ye be wise? He that planted the ear, shall he not hear? Right, so the one who created hearing by giving us ears, you don't think he hear what's going on? He that formed the eye, shall he not see? You don't think he see what's going on? He created your eye. The eye is like one of the most complicated organs in your body, man. And yes, I'm calling it an organ. If I'm not mistaken, it's legitly considered an organ, but it's one of the most sensitive things in your body, man. Right? How light can come in and just the whole operation of the eye, right? Without light coming into your eye, you can't see anything, for one, right? Then it has to reflect And I mean, it's so much going on into your eyeball, man. That's another topic for another day. But just the eye alone should show you how beautiful and how powerful our Creator is, man. But it says, "He that formed the eye, shall he not see? He that chasteneth and that's pretty much the point. But he that chasteneth the heathen, shall not he correct? Right? Shall he not correct? It says, he that teacheth men knowledge, shall not he know? Right? Yahweh knoweth the thoughts of men, that they are vanity. Right? He knows this. He knows it all. He sees it all, man. Right? He hears it all. Right? So again, the heathen can say whatever. Right? Going back up to verse 6. Not verse 6. Verse 8. Understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools. Right? When will ye be wise? Right? Be wise to understand that the Lord knows all of this, bro. He ain't finna get away with what he has done, man. Right? Let's go to Proverbs real quick. 17 and 15. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushua knows it all, man. He sees it all. They can say whatever they want in their hearts, man. They gonna have to pay for all that. Galatians 6 and 7, man. What you reap, you shall sow. It's Proverbs 17 and 15. He that justified the wicked and he that condemneth the just, even they both are an abomination to the Lord, man. Right? Going into Donald Trump. Anybody who justifying this situation, man, you're an abomination, man. There's plenty of ways this situation could have been handled, man. Let's go to Isaiah 3. I'm kind of all over the place like you. Let's go to Isaiah 3 and 11, see what that say. All right. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him, right? Galatians 6 and 7, all right? So again, it shall be ill with you, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. So you're going to receive everything that you dish out, my boy, right? Everything. And for those who justify the wicked, you also an abomination to the Lord, man. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 1. Proverbs. Let's jump down. What was that precept I was looking at? Oh, no wonder. I don't know why my fingers do that, man. Well, I ain't gonna say my fingers, but the phone be tripping. Proverbs 1, not 6. All right. Let's jump down. Right. It's Proverbs 1 and 11. It reads, if they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one pursuit. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. Right? For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Right? And so when you see ICE, man, or that they're in the area, don't be out there. Be wise, be smart, man. Move circumspectly, right? Because they make haste to shed blood, man. So refrain from being amongst them. That's the mindset. That's the blessing that they received, man. taking the fatness of the earth, and they're going to do it with the sword. Right? Verse 17. Right? Surely in vain their net is spread in the sight of any bird. Right? Going into ice. And they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Right? So just going into how that's what they do, man. This is what ICE was set up to do. This is all coming from Trump. The one who enlarges his desires as hell, man. Everything that Trump has been doing has been bringing nothing but death to others, man. Everything he's doing in Venezuela, everything he's doing right here in America, right? Innocent blood being shed, man. Let's go to Proverbs 11 and 21. All right, and to read. Ooh. Right. See, when you read Proverbs 11 and 20, right, it reminds you of the scripture that says in Habakkuk 2, when it goes into the Lord spirit not being, the Lord spirit, so like the spirit, speaking of people like Trump, his spirit is not upright in him, man, right? But for us, our spirit is upright. This is Proverbs 11 and 20. They that are of a forward heart are an abomination, right? People like Trump, people like that work for ICE, right? Like this particular officer, right? It says are an abomination to the Lord, man. They that are of a forward heart and are abomination to the Yahweh, but such as are upright in their way are his delight. Though hand joined in hand, here was the point that I was trying to grab. Though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, right? But the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, man. All right, going that covering. That's why that covering is so important. All right, verse 21 again. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Thanks again. The wicked, you're gonna be punished, man. It is what it is. For things you do, you have to receive. You're gonna receive those same punishments, man. Did I go to Psalms 58? Let's see. I can't remember if I did Psalms 58 or not. Ooh, Psalms 58 and 10. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily, there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a power that judgeth in the earth, man. Right? Speaking of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right? When we're blessing that to receive those new bodies, man, right? We're gonna be the authorities on the earth, putting the wicked into submission. Yahweh is on part of that number. Right, but the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance, man. And the Lord say, right, we're gonna see it with our eyes first, man. And with our eyes only. Matter of fact, man, let's get into that a little bit. Let's go to Revelations. All right, before we grab that scripture, let's go to Revelations 6. Let me just get right to the point. Revelation 6 and 9. And it reads, and when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and for the testimony which they held. Right? It says, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. All right, so just going into how the righteous, man, are going to be given those robes, And once the rest of the elect, are sealed, then it's a wrap for the wicked, man. So, and that time is here. That time is I wouldn't say another couple more years, man. the end of 2026, the end of 2027. It's gonna be a wrap for these heathens, man. All right. Matter of fact, ooh, damn, I wasn't gonna go into all this, but